Hello friends, welcome back to my studio. Hope you're well. So that is a wrap. Open Studios is now finished, and thank you to everyone who visited. I had such a great time. I am pretty talked out, I must say, so I don't plan on this week's vlog being too long. And look at this. I don't know why I talk about the weather, but look, it's freezing again after having it so hot that first weekend. In Queensland, there's tourist ads that talk about beautiful one day, perfect the next. And down here in Victoria, well, we just get 4 seasons in a day. So yeah, it is March. It is the same month as when we were sweltering, but I've spent the morning packing up the studio, or packing away the open studio things and getting it back into a working studio. While the event's on, I'm always itching to get back into painting, but I'm left feeling a little bit spent. So I find the best thing to do is just come into the studio, refresh the supplies, sort things out, and just really set up ready to go when the energy does return for it. It was a very successful event. I sold a lot of work. I sold, particularly, as I said in last week's vlog about having a good variety of price points, I sold out. I could have had a lot more actually. I sold out of the smaller pieces, so they were about 5x7s and 10x10s, I think they were. There was a lot of smaller gel plate print works, and yeah, they all sold, which was lovely. And particularly one special collector was visiting from Germany, so he took a couple of pieces back to Germany, and so now there's a little bit of me in Germany, which is so special because I have German heritage. My great-great-grandfather was from northern Germany. And so it's really special to really have anyone. It's the greatest compliment to have someone want to spend their hard-earned on a piece of art. So it's a real feeling of warm and fuzzies, but also like, whew, that was big. What a lot of people found interesting, of course, as I'd mentioned about where I work, they wanted to see where do I create, even though they were in the studio, and obviously I create in the studio, they wanted to know physically where I stand and where does it all happen. And they were particularly fascinated with the color swatching and the color palette, and then being able to really see all those colors out here and then see them of how they were put together on a canvas, I think was really interesting and rewarding for them to see. So it's good to note that an open studio is not just about selling work. It's about making interesting connections, having interesting conversations, inspiring others to get back. There are a lot of artists, of course, that visit, and I really felt like I was able to offer some inspiration, feeling that I was able to really connect over the joy of art, the joy of just creating. So the plans for me moving forward is to, it was interesting that I spoke about that I really wanted to have this piece ready to show, but I obviously was over ambitious, and there was just too much to do, and there was no way known there was going to be enough time to get this to a finished piece. But I still had it out because it was a really good talking point to show that some of the work begins with this sort of a wash. And I think people could really see that. Some of course, non-artists were really fascinated by that too, of how that can become what they could see finished on the wall. So yeah, there was a lot of interesting intellectual sort of conversations, so it was just fantastic. So yes, I'm going to probably work on this one next. That other one, I've got as far as photographing it and printing out little thumbnails, And so I will try and figure out what direction that is going in. But I think for starters, I feel more connected to this canvas. So this will be the next piece I work on. And I will show you that in coming vlogs. One of the pieces I sold was an unframed work. So I've got some framing of that to do as well. I offered to frame it for the collector. And so she went away and bought the frame to her taste and to suit her house, and so I'm also going to be framing that up. I need to do that first before I get any paint going. So I better get to that now because she'll be waiting for it. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely week and I'll see you next week. Bye.